Alright. Hey everybody, it's me, James, here with a video that I don't typically make on my channel. But for this video, I wanted to make a guide video for all the desktop users out there that are starting to play VR chat. And I wanted to give some beginner tips that I wish I would have known as a former desktop player myself. Things that I wish I would have knew as a desktop player for 11 months. And so, imagine a scenario like this. So you spent about $300 for a gaming PC, but you just remembered that VR chat is playable on PC, but you got it for, to play games like Guilty Gear, maybe some Street Fighter, run some emulators, and doing stuff with Unity. And then you're like, alright, I want to get VR chat. So you go on the website and make your account. But before you click play, peep the minimum requirements. Got it memorized? Alright, let's boot up the game. So once you get into VR chat, your first thought would probably be to go into one of these worlds. Don't. Instead, I want you to go to a world, well, not this one. I want you to go to a world called Prismic's Avatar Search. Once you're in there, I want you to find your own avatar and pick your very first avatar. Once you do that, come back to this world by opening up this menu by hitting the escape key and clicking on home. Then either yes or default. Either of those work. And once you come back here, I want you to do some prerequisites. So hit the escape key, press the little gear, and click this arrow up here. And we're going to go through each setting one by one. Not all of them, but some. So have your audio, just adjust these to your likings. Now for your microphone, you can either use one that uses a headphone jack or USB. But if it's going to be a headphone jack, you have to make sure that the headphone jack piece on the microphone itself has 2 rings. If it has 3 rings, it may not work. Now, depending on your computer, you may not have 2 separate jacks, one for microphone, one for just audio. My computer has that. And if that's the case for your computer, you're going to need a headset or a microphone that uses or has 2 rings on the headphone jack part itself. And for your mic settings, I just recommend just putting at 50 or 100. And depending on your mic quality may vary. I usually have noise suppression turned off so my microphone can pick up my voice. And the threshold, that's just I don't know how to explain it. But basically just have it like around here so your voice can be picked up. If it's all the way up here, you might have to speak a little loud. See how it doesn't reach? Set it around here, you'll be fine. And I recommend you have it on toggle. You press V for the microphone. Earmuff mode, I have no idea what that is. And for comfort, I recommend turning off personal space and having AFK detection. What personal space does is that when you get close to other players, or too close, their character model will just disappear. This makes it to where you can get up close to other players as possible. And AFK detection, so how this works, if you're playing the game, if you press the N key, if you're on desktop, you'll go into an AFK animation and let people know that you're AFK, which I find pretty useful. Let me just go back real quick. And for content gating, just have all this off. Trust me. Graphics, adjust these according to your PC. I don't think these settings really contribute to your performance, but depending on your PC, I would recommend just setting it to the absolute minimum. Particle limiter, just adjust these settings. Display, visual, all that, just set to your liking. And for avatar gestures, you want to have this on. This is completely optional, but again, personal preference. I'm going to have this off. You can leave this on if you want. If you're having performance issues with avatars that have a large download size, go ahead and enable that. Hide avatars. What this does is that the game will hide avatars, not completely, but it would hide avatars to free up processing power. They're hidden at a certain distance, and you can set it to whatever distance. Now, if you want to make it to where you want to hide everyone's avatar, except for your friends, you can turn these two settings on. You only want to have this on if you're planning on using VR and you want to do full body tracking stuff. Mirrors, make sure mirror is grabbable, and you'll see in a minute. Alright, for nameplates, personal preference, HUD. Now chat box, make sure this is set to everyone so everyone can see what you're typing. Because by default it's usually set to friends, but you want to set to everyone if you don't have a microphone, that is. And chat box position, that's for I believe other players, but I would recommend having it above. And the rest is personal preference. Now, peep these controls. I want you to note the gesture keys, which is holding shift and then the F keys 1 through 8, and you'll see in a minute on what that's for. Now, for accessibility, we're through that debug. That shows your FPS, ping, could be useful. Now your cache, I want you to clear this once in a while. So you probably have already picked your first avatar, and you may have noticed if you press the R key, expressions, and then anything where you can equip something, in this case right here, you notice that avatars can have a prop, but because you're on desktop you can't really use said prop. But here's one way you could like hold out your prop or use the prop. And for example, we'll be using this ghost avatar that has a gun. Now, not all avatars are desktop friendly, but this avatar is. And what you want to do when you bring up your little quick menu by pressing R, you want to go to Tools and Personal Mirror. Then after you exit out, you want to left click on it, and notice how my gun is out. Then what you want to do is use the scroll wheel if you're using a mouse to essentially put the mirror behind you. Then with the gesture keys, since the gun is on my right hand, I'll be holding down the right shift. I would hold down the right shift and then one of the F keys. I'm not sure which exact one. Alright, it's F. It's F2. Gesture. As you can see, there's different types of gestures that you can do. And you can also do the same with your left hand, even though you won't use your left hand that often, but for avatars that use facial features or facial expressions with hand gestures, this will be useful. Anyways, oh yeah, so that's one way to use props on avatars. In this section, I wanted to show you guys something about picking up items. So there are some items where you have to hold down left click to have it in your hand. Then as soon as you let go, the item will just drop. And sometimes there are objects that are throwable, and to throw these objects, you have to, like it says here, hold down the right click. Then after a few seconds, oh, it didn't work that time. But after a few seconds, after you hold down the right click, you should be able to toss it at a distance. But it doesn't work for this item for some reason. Then there are some objects that you can pick up by just left click once, and then it just stays in your hand. Then when you drop it, it might stay in the air or just drop according to the item's physics. But the other thing is that when you have an item in your hand, you can use the scroll wheel, just like with the mirror from the previous section, to bring it forward, or bring it towards you, or push it out farther. On top of that, if you use the I, O, K, and L keys, you can rotate it at certain axes. Oh, and J also works. Okay, it's U, I, O, L, J, U, I, O, J, K, L keys to rotate items at certain axes. I thought you might want to know that. Not every VR chat world is desktop friendly. Very few VR chat worlds are. Like this one. This one has a piano, a playable piano, but it gives you the option to play the piano with just your keyboard. Or this murder game that has guns. And if you're on desktop, the guns can be used as if you're playing a first-person shooter. As you can see, left click to shoot, and then it's not E, but it's Q to reload in this game mode, which is pretty cool. So with that said, you can finally go to public worlds and have some fun and enjoy yourself. But before you do that, if you want to get started to finding some worlds, I recommend you go to the trending. Avoid this world at all costs, please. But anywhere else, yes, this is fine. A lot of children go here. You might want to avoid that. This is fun. This is good. Alright. I'll probably make a separate video on some recommendations in the next video. If you guys want me to, I'll make a beginner guide for going from desktop into VR and how to set up VR for the first time if you were a former desktop player. And I hope this video has helped you in some sort of way. And hopefully you guys would want me to make a follow-up video. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. Hey guys, it's me again. So, for the 3 people that are still watching this video, I just want to say that I'm proud of you. I'm proud for each and every desktop player here on VR Chat. And I'm proud because you made the best financial decision than any VR Chat player could make. Because of your financial decision to buy a PC, whether it's a $2,000 gaming PC with the latest AMD processors or a shitty MacBook from 2011, this puts you automatically ahead of everyone else. Why? Because you have full access, instant full access to VR Chat. And yes, the Quest users will bully you, saying you have no arms, you have no legs, you don't have anything. But let me tell you this. Them having a shitty Quest 2 is their loss. You having a PC is your gain. And so, I just want to say, deep down, you are a very humble person, coming from humble beginnings. And lastly, thank you for sticking around. Until the next video.